Do you know what the four things are that an education can give you? Well, they're 3 P's and an F. The 4 great objects of life and education can be listed as poise, power, peace, and freedom. Let me tell you the 10 marks of an educated person, and this doesn't necessarily mean a college degree. You can check them off as I run down the list and see how you qualify. Number 1, an open mind. This is the ability to toss even your most cherished beliefs into the trash can if you find they're not true. Number 2, the educated person will listen to all the information someone else can give him on a subject and then draw his own conclusions. Number 3, the educated person never laughs at new ideas. He never says that something is impossible, ridiculous, or that it cannot be done. Number 4, the educated person cross-examines his daydreams. A lot of people have become great by realizing that some daydreams can become practical realities. 5, the educated person discovers his strongest point and then makes the most of it. Nothing succeeds like success, but mainly because a person has found his strong point and has learned how to play it. 6, learn the value of good habits and how to form them. 7, know when not to think, when to call in the expert to do your thinking for you. Dr. William Mayo once said, "It is not surgery that kills people, it's delayed surgery." Number 8, you can't sell the educated person magic. It's amazing and pitiable the great number of people who believe in luck, charms, special days, signs, Black Fridays, and other superstitions still around from the Dark Ages. The educated person throws superstition right out the window. Number 9, the educated person lives a forward-looking, outward-looking life. Psychology divides the world into 2 classes, introverts and extroverts. The inward-looking introvert loses health, efficiency, happiness, and so on, while the outward-looking person builds, constructs, organizes, achieves, and harnesses the energies of the world. Now, most of us are a combination of both introvert and extrovert, but it's important that we turn ourselves and our minds outward, not inward. Number 10, the educated person cultivates a love for the beautiful. Beauty can be a fine book, good music, nature, a painting, any one of a million things. The educated person sees beauty in just about everything. So those are the 10 marks of an educated person. Now, how did you do? The next time little Clyde or Hermione asks you why school is necessary, tell them about the 3 P's and the F that only an education can give you: poise, power, peace, and freedom. 4 things that every human being wants, but only those who have taken the time to obtain an education can have. And if you're already out of school and feel you kind of skidded by, an hour a day can give you the education you seek. Just 1 hour a day for the rest of your life. In getting a really good education, here's a terrific book to start on: The Outline of History by H.G. Wells, The History of the World as Exciting as a Novel, all in 1 volume. Thank you. How many times during your life do you suppose you've heard the words, "they say"? How much of your life is shaped and guided by what they say? A great American by the name of Bruce Barton, businessman, a public servant, wrote a short piece a long time ago titled, "They Say." Let me quote it to you. How many utterly drab and uninteresting people are there in the world who might have developed real personalities if they had only had courage to do and be something different from the crowd? Every single step forward in history has been taken over the bodies of empty-headed fools who giggled and snickered. If you have anything really valuable to contribute to the world, it will come through the expression of your own personality, that single spark of divinity that sets you off and makes you different from every other living creature. A noted English schoolmaster used to have as his motto, "Never explain, never retract, never apologize, get it done, and let 'em howl." Well, it's a motto not altogether to be commended. He who governs his life according to it will not be an agreeable companion or accomplish the largest service under a government where the will of the majority must finally prevail. But there is a rugged spirit of independence embedded in it that many men would do well to adopt. You can afford to have a decent regard for public opinion. But you can never afford to let yourself get into the pathetic condition where what they say, or may say, will keep you from doing what ought to be done. It's a hopeless condition to be in because what they say today is not what they said yesterday or will say tomorrow. That was written by Bruce Barton a long time ago, but it's even more true today than it's ever been. There has never been a time in our history when so many people have lived their lives in such timid obsequiousness to what they say. Remember Bruce Barton's comment, which went, "Every single forward step in history has been taken over the bodies of empty-headed fools who giggled and snickered," and the one that goes, "If you have anything to contribute to the world, it will come through the expression of your own personality, that single spark of divinity that sets you off and makes you different from every other living creature." You see, there are no two human beings on earth who are exactly alike. Well then, where do we get the phrase, the average man or the average woman? There is no such thing as an average human being. The reason it seems there are so many average human beings is because so many are acting as though they were average. Each one of us, being different, has something different and worthwhile to contribute. As Emerson wrote, "A man should learn to detect and watch that gleam of light which flashes across his mind from within, more than the luster of the firmament of bards and sages. Yet he dismisses without notice his thought, because it is his." Don't ever make that mistake. Your thoughts, your abilities can never be known unless you make them known. So the next time you hear someone say, "Well, they say," ask him who they are. If it would be possible to track them down, we would find them to be men like ourselves. Maybe we are they. It's worth watching out for. I believe that one of the most interesting, but certainly most confounding things about people is the way so many of them go through life with their hands held tightly over their eyes and an iron pot jammed down over their brains. According to the experts, the only thing that keeps more people from developing the way they should and from doing the many interesting things they could be doing is a thing called prejudice. I suppose everyone is prejudiced about something. The very word prejudice comes from the words pre and judge, and means to judge beforehand, to pass judgment on prematurely or in advance of due investigation. And the word prejudice is defined as an unfavorable opinion or feeling formed beforehand or without knowledge or thought or reason. For example, crazy as it may sound, I know a man who is immediately suspicious of short women and wouldn't trust one of them as far as he could throw her uphill into a strong wind. He must have had a bad experience with a woman about 5 feet tall, so now he doesn't trust her like any of them. Naturally, this hurts him in getting along with people. There are people who feel they don't have a chance in life because a particular place, such as Wall Street, or a minority group controls all of the money in the country. I'll bet you've heard that one. It must have been started by some pinhead who couldn't stand to admit his own failure, and instead of starting over again, he decided to blame someone else. Before you swallow a prejudice, give it the acid test. Investigate it. That's right, check it out, and you'll see it vanish like a puff of smoke in a hurricane. Don't go through life being held back by a lot of stupid prejudices that have no power or substance or truth to them. And whenever you find yourself about to repeat a prejudice you've heard but have not checked out, don't say it. If you repeat things you do not know to be true, and if they're of a prejudicial nature, you're throwing up barriers you're going to have a tough time climbing over. Have you ever noticed that whenever you say or think something bad about a person or a group, that it has a way of making a full circle and finally kicking you in the seat of the pants? It never fails. Yet we all know people who spend their entire lives kicking themselves in this fashion and having to dig up new prejudices as alibis for the fact that they never amount to a hill of beans. Fortunately for us, the youngsters of today are getting a much better education than we got. And if there's one thing that will put the staggers into prejudice, it's education. A prejudice disappears under the light of knowledge like a drop of water on a hot stove. It's true that a prejudice can cause quite a bit of mischief in the world, but the thing to remember is that the person a prejudice hurts most is the person who holds it. Prejudice can only walk with ignorance. If you get rid of one, you get rid of the other. Many years ago, when I was an actor on a radio network, the director happened to give me a very small part. In fact, it was just one line in a half-hour program. And I complained to him about it, and he said something I'll never forget. He said, "There are no small parts. There are only small actors." And certainly the same thing applies to the business of living. We determine what happens to us. If we're not doing too well, we may be holding ourselves back with a prejudice. The great jurist Oliver Wendell Holmes once wrote, "Men are tattooed with their special beliefs like so many South Sea islanders, but a real human heart with divine love in it beats with the same glow under all the patterns of all Earth's 1,000 tribes."